The boys are off, so instead, myself, Sal Licata, with you until 10 o'clock. We got Zoo, we got Fliegelman. Andrew Bogish will make an appearance today as well, and we will have you on the phones. 877-337-6666. We got lots to get to. It's a busy, busy Monday morning. I want to call it the final week of summer. I know that's not really true, but it's kind of true with the kids going back to school either this week or next week.
Well, how's it not true?
Well, it's not true because the weather in September is really good. And it's going to be 85 degrees next week. That's still summer weather.
Isn't September fall?
Good morning, Sal.
Good morning, Jerry. Isn't September fall for me?
Fall, I think for most people, they believe is after Labor Day, but really fall begins in October.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of that.
You're have 90-degree temperatures next week.
I've been saying, for months, this is it. Or not for months, for weeks.
I agree.
This is the last week of the summer. Enjoy it now. Summer's over. Once football starts to me, it's fall.
Well, that's August.
Well, no, I mean real football.
For me.
Football that counts. I mean,
yeah.
And I'm not talking about college. I'm talking about NFL, obviously. Once you start to get into September, yeah. And this is it now. The preseason is over. I know we'll get into that plenty with the Jets and Giants, which I watched a little bit of that yesterday. Preseason football. I mean,
it's brutal.
Yuck.
It's awful.
Yeah. Anyway, to me, September football, it's the fall.
And we are a week and a half away from that. So we'll do the football coming up next hour. But it is still August, and we do have two good baseball teams in this city. It's amazing. The last time, so it's funny. We'll talk about the Mets in 1 second. But the last time you and I.
Two good baseball teams who can't hit.
Not yesterday.
Yeah, right.
That is very true.
This weekend was a little rough offensively, but anyway.
You get 3 out of 4, they did fine. We'll get to that in a second. That's the Mets, of course. So the last time you and I spoke, we were basically viewing the Yankees as if they were the Cincinnati Reds because they hadn't won much in the last 5-6 weeks. And then came the series with the Blue Jays. And that didn't go well, but the Sunday game did. And then came the 2 games with the Mets. Went very well for the Yankees, and Aaron Judge started doing what he was doing all season long, had big hits, and they win a couple of games. Mets pitched well. They couldn't hit. They lose. They had opportunities. Nothing happens. Fine. Okay. Then you have the Oakland A's, and you say, go out there and take care of the crappy A's. And the first 2 days couldn't have gone better. Matter of fact, they scored 13 bleeping runs in Game 2 of that series, and all seemed to be right, or maybe the first game, whatever it was. So they take the first 2, and then comes the weekend. And I feel like because me and you are here, we have to deal with a team that can't hit again.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? I mean, what happened? I thought for sure after we were looking at that Met-Yankee series, I was joking around saying, it's a get right for the Mets. Turned out to be get right for the Yankees. And then I thought, okay, well, once they got those 2 wins, you see them perform the way that they did, to your point, the first 2 in Oakland, this is going to be a typical Yankee stretch where they, reel off 8 of 9 or whatever, and 10 of 12, whatever, however streak you're going to give there against crappy teams. And then they go and can't hit against the A's. That's pathetic in 2 games. And look, it's hard to sweep series.
Agreed.
I get it, a 4-game series. Same with the Mets, with the Rockies. Like, it's hard. You can't win them all. And same thing with the Yankees and the A's here. But to split that series after the way the first 2 went, that can't happen for a team that we're looking at as potentially World Series champions, best team in baseball, blah, blah, blah. It's inexcusable, Jared.
No, and again, a team that's still 7.5 up, so it's not like there's panic or anything. But, it's like the way they lost Saturday
seeing it at 7.5 is weird, though, no? Because it was 10, 13 for so long.
Oh, it's single digits in August and not 9 anymore. It's 7.5. Very doable for the other teams, depending on how the Yankees play, of course. But after they took the first 2, all you got to get is 1 more. And with the way, that game was there for the taking on Saturday, as you know, and it ended horribly with the error, of course. So you blow that one, that's fine. You got to come back and win Sunday as opposed to losing both of them. And now, you've got a team that, again, no panic for me at all, but you just don't like the way Saturday and Sunday went. And I actually I watched Aaron Boone yesterday in the post-game press conference or media session in his office. And he just says the same thing. And I don't know what at this point he's supposed to say.
Got to be better. We got to do better.
He must have said, we've got to be better. It had to have been 12 times in a 5-minute little session with the media. He told Meredith Marakovitz, we got to be better, I think 4 times within 2 questions. And he's right, and I get it. But it's like you're banging your head against the wall sometimes watching this team because they should be better. They just should be. And I know that's nuts. The record's great. They're 7.5 up. But, man, after that 5-game winning streak, you don't expect them to lose those 2 games the way they did. And how about the fact, too, those are like road home games. People went out to see them over the weekend. I think it's the A's. That's
got to be the worst venue in sports.
Well, it's horrendous.
Yeah.
But I would think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, might total the A's attendance all season long.
Right.
I mean, they were
Right.
getting 3,000 people a game in earlier in the season.
Right. Nobody goes to that ballpark.
No.
And I get it. And look, baseball, and I'm actually going there end of September.
I heard.
Yeah, I just want to check it off the list. Mets are going to be there.
I would like to as well, yes.
So do that one and San Fran. And plus, for me, like, I would love to go see a new Oakland ballpark, but for me, that's the one I grew up watching. So as crappy as it is, still want to go see it.
New Oakland ballpark's going to be in Vegas, probably.
It is a dreadful ballpark with nobody there.
Have you been there for a Raider game?
No, never. You?
No.
Yeah, I've
It's
never
one
been.
of my one sports regrets.
I've never been. Oh, yeah, right. We can't do that anymore. I
Cannot
know.
do that anymore.
People love going to Vegas for the Raiders anyway. But no, it's dreadful to watch. And you just assume that the Yankees were going to take care of that lousy team, Jared, and they didn't do it. And it brings you back to what is this Yankee team, though? We still don't really know, do we? They look great against the Mets. You think they're getting back on track, and then they lose the final 2 games of that series.
No, I don't know. And if you told me that they go into the playoffs, we said this last time. If you told me they were one and done in the playoffs, I'm not surprised. If you tell me they're playing in the World Series, not surprised. You say that about every team, but this team specifically, there have been so many enormous highs, and there have been a few very odd lows. And not that this weekend is one of those, but it was still, I think, disappointing. Saturday and Sunday is disappointing, I would say.
And if you get one, whatever, then you're fine. Again,
I agree.
You don't need to sweep.
You have a 4-game series. You're allowed a crappy game. You know?
I think you have to be realistic. I know fans want to win every single game. Mets sweep the Rockies, Yankees sweep the A's. But I don't think we come on complaining, even if the Yankees got one hit yesterday. Had they lost one game, they got to win 3 out of 4. But to split, that feels like a loss. You got to win series. And the Yankees haven't done enough of that. They won the Mets series. That's it.
That's it.
I mean,
because even the Blue Jay game was just, you kind of avoided the big sweep
you
there.
You salvaged the
Right.
final game of a 4-game series. You're lucky you didn't get swept. They saved embarrassment in winning that game against the Blue Jays. Then they swept the Mets and embarrassed the Mets. And I think that says more about the Mets than it did about the Yankees. And then you split with Oakland? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
And now they go play Anaheim, or L.A., starting, I guess, tonight. They start that series. This is another one. Go beat them. The Angels have been a bad baseball team all season long. So you had the get-right series with the A's. They sort of did and then kind of fell back. Now you've got the Angels for 3. And then when you look at what's ahead, it's real. I mean, you got a couple of lousy series in there. But for the most part, you're playing good teams the rest of the way, aside from the Pirates and I guess the Rangers. I know that's a weird team to finish with.
But those Rays series are all of a sudden huge. In New York, we're not looking at the Rays necessarily because, the Yankees here, they're the best team. They're going to win the division. It's more about getting right for the playoffs, whatever. I guarantee you the Rays themselves, and whatever few Tampa Rays fans are, they're looking at that saying, hey, we're 7 games back in the loss column. We play these guys head-to-head. We just took a series from them in New York. I think the Rays are looking at this as an opportunity. If you were the second-place team chasing, you'd be saying, wait till those games. That's our final opportunity to get back into it. It could happen. I'm not saying it's going to. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees go out there and sweep the Angels or take 2 out of 3. To the point, what are they? I don't know. Would I be surprised if they lost 2 out of 3? Probably not either. But those Rays series, we may not be looking at them as big games. Those are huge games because the Rays have a chance to really dig into that lead.
We weren't looking into those big series. Now we are.
Yeah, right.
There's no question about it. And in terms of the Mets, so this weekend was good. I thought Saturday, and we'll get to Old Timers Day coming up later in the hour. I thought when you just take about the game itself, when you look at the way they came back on Saturday, which was it was the perfect ending to a great day. And we'll do the Old Timers Day coming up probably around 6:45 because there's a lot of good stuff there. Yesterday was, I don't know. It was one of those things where Marquez was just on. And this is one question I do have, though. I thought about it in the first Yankee game, and I thought about it yesterday. And I'm sure the analytics tell you to be extremely aggressive at the plate. But the approach, again, the pitch count for Marquez, when you looked in the 5th inning of this game, was nothing to where I'm thinking this guy's going to go the distance. And it just seemed over-aggressive at times where a Met team that all season long, for the most part, works a lot of counts, kind of battles. I thought they went after a lot of bad first pitches. There were a lot of 1 and 2 pitch at-bats popping up, and they didn't do a whole lot to get him out of the game. Now, that having been said, once they got him out of the game, nothing changed anyway. I know they got a couple of guys on here and there, but there was nothing yesterday. But once again, after you take the first 3, you kind of righted the ship. to me, not that big a deal yesterday.
And Marte got a day off. I mean, the Mets aren't good enough. And look, he's got to get a day off at some point. And the final game of a 4-game series, I get it. But you get out of the starting lineup. But without him in there, look at the lineup. Vogelback, I'm sorry, he stinks. Vogelback stinks. He's better than Dom Smith. He's no good. He's sitting up there looking for a walk.
I know.
He's looking for a walk. Swing the friggin' bat, please. I'm begging you, swing the bat. But he's not that good. And I like him. Seems like a fun personality. And like I said, and a slight upgrade over what they had before. But Vogelback's no good. Escobar has been awful. Tyler Naquin has come back down to earth where he's not giving you anything. Beatty, he's not giving you much. I know he got one of the few hits yesterday. McCann, all of a sudden you look at the lineup and you say, well, how the hell are they going to score any runs? They got nobody in there that can hit. If Lindor, who's been in a funk, if Lindor's not scoring, or Lindor's not driving any runs, or Alonso's they're dead. And that's what happened yesterday against a good pitcher.
Right, you just went from how good this team is to they stink.
Yeah, no.
and the disappointing part is Verlander was so good. And I know he gives up the one run, but he battles through.
Scherzer, you're talking about.
Who did I say?
Verlander.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I got Verlander on my mind with the injury. Yeah. Scherzer's so good yesterday, and he got DeGrommed in one of the worst ways ever. And the innings were quick.
Yeah.
Like, he goes out there, he battles his way through. You get the crowd fired up. Strike 3 called. Come off. There we go. And then 1, 2, 3, see it.
Even
it's like, good Lord.
Yeah, it's annoying. I hate wasting gems, and the Mets have specialized in that over the last several years. But Scherzer battled through that 7th inning. Bases loaded, nobody out, only allowing the one run. Yeah, and you got to come back and score.
It sounds nuts, especially if you just look at the box score. Like, I didn't think Scherzer was that good yesterday, and I thought he battled his way through
11 strikeouts.
Yes, yeah. But there were so many, not so many, but there were a good handful of like 3-0 counts where he's got to battle his way back. I'm thinking he's off. He's not like tip top Max Scherzer. And even that was 7 innings of 1-run ball with a bunch of strikeouts and giving that team every opportunity to score runs. And this is what it tells me, and it's what everybody knows. So I'm not saying anything new. But I look at them, and you look at the Dodgers the other night. They played, I think it was Miami, and Sandy Alcantara goes the distance Saturday against them and just shuts them down. Because you look at the Dodgers and that record, they're like 50 games over 500. They're unbelievable.
Joke about the Braves not losing. The Dodgers actually don't lose.
And
my God.
I knew Gonsolin was having a good season. He's having a historic season. That's how good he's been. But the only way you're going to beat that team is to do to them what Alcantara did, and you got to outpitch them. And I look at this Met rotation, and you know what? You can see it. You really can. As good as they've been. If you get Scherzer, DeGrom healthy and Bassett continues to pitch the way he's pitching, man, you got to like their chances.
That's why it's about the postseason. 2 things right now for the Mets. And look, they can't win every game. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I just ripped the lineup. That's a Sunday lineup. Game 4 of a 4-game series. We won the first 3. I'm not saying it's a give-up game. And they had Scherzer on the mound. Bucks thinking, hey, all we need to do is scratch off a couple of runs here. Scratch across a couple of runs. We'll get the win. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do that. But they play. I think the Mets will fit better in the postseason than they do in the regular season. But right now, they got to hold off Atlanta, not to get to the postseason, but obviously to be in the
big win by the Cardinals last night.
Yeah, you want Braves finally lose the series in St. Louis. I thought that might be the case going in. Cardinals are good. But anyway, the Mets need to hold off the Braves. That's what it's going to be about here. And then either way, they're getting to the postseason. But with DeGrom, Scherzer, Bassett, Carrasco, whatever, moving Walker to the bullpen all of a sudden might look a little bit different and better in the postseason. David Peterson, who had another good start over the weekend. Yeah. And their offense, I think, will play. You can have your best guys in there every day, and they play. They put the ball in play, make things happen. So I think it plays in the postseason. But it at times can be frustrating, and they really haven't been right for – I would say maybe a week or so, a couple of weeks here where the Mets offense in particular has not been great or clicking on all cylinders.
Right. They just won 3 out of 4. And as you pointed out, Lindor really hasn't done a whole hell of a lot lately. And there's been times, over the weekend, there were times where he came up with spots to do damage or at least get something going and came up empty. But you know what? He's going to go through slumps and highs, as we know. And it's been more better than bad this year. He's been really solid, and he's been a run producer. But if you can win 3 out of 4 with him not on, and yes, a Sunday lineup, which
Right.
You're right.
Well,
I mean, you still got Lindor and Alonso in there, and you still have Nimmo in the lineup, so it wasn't terrible.
Right, but I'm saying if those guys don't get the job done, which they didn't, then
you're struggling.
Yeah, then you're not going to. I mean, Naquin has done his job at times. Vogelback has had an impact at times, but it's been minimal with those guys. So, and then you talk about the catching spot. You're not getting anything from there. I really do think the Mets have lost a lot without Guillorme at third base. I know everybody loves Beatty, and he's got some pop in that bat. But I mean, what's he hitting? $180?
Not much.
90? Yeah, so
not much.
He had one of the few hits yesterday, but still. So they lose a little. This is going to be an important week now because the Mets picked up a game this week on Atlanta. They have the 3-game lead. Braves will be playing the Rockies starting tomorrow. Braves have a stretch now where before they head out west to take on the A's, Mariners, Giants, which we looked at as maybe a media, anytime you go out west. But they got the Rockies and the Marlins, and obviously the Mets have the Dodgers here. And
who are the Mets this weekend or who, though?
The Mets this weekend, Fleegs?
It's light, isn't it? Oh, Washington. There it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So you got Washington, Pittsburgh, Miami, Chicago, Pittsburgh. I mean,
but the three with the Dodgers, and the Mets have Walker, DeGrom, Bassett scheduled to pitch against the Dodgers. You got to win series. Got to win 2 out of 3. And then you're right. Then it's forget it. Look out, Cake City, where the Nats.
You know what you got to do? You got to get one
from the Dodgers.
Yes.
Just don't get swept.
Do not get swept.
Oh, come on! You got to raise your expectations.
But you don't have Scherzer.
DeGrom's going one of those games.
I know, and Walker's going. Yeah.
Who's pitching for the Dodgers? Let's see: Haney, Anderson, and May.
So they actually missed Gonsolin.
And Kershaw, I thought, might be coming back. I was talking about that yesterday, but I guess Dustin May is going to make that start instead. So it was possible Kershaw could have made his return on Thursday, but it's going to be Dustin May. So whatever, we'll see. But yeah, I mean,
there'll be a lot of Dodger fans this week too.
Andrew Heaney. I mean, I remember him with the Yankees
I do.
last year. I know
Didn't
he's
go
been
so
better.
good.
Yeah, please. But anyway, the Dodgers are good. It's going to be a fun series.
It should be fun. Yes, I imagine it'll be packed too with the Dodgers in town. Should be really good. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we got Andrew Bogish